This video is going to be about the CQ DATR volume indicator. It's this indicator down here. This indicator used to be called the CQ volume DATR. Words were reversed. I think the DATR volume reflects more of what the indicator actually is. I actually created 3 other versions after the version that's up on the site, and I guess I never put them up, and I'm not certain why. I guess I just got busy doing something else. But a number of improvements have occurred. So I think this one, I think it's simple enough and fairly easy to use. But there's a number of parameters. If you've watched the CQ banded moving average video, we have this where it's going to save all these parameters to a file. There's another version over here. You can see the DATR volume, no parameters version, and it will load this file. So when you're using an Expert Advisor, you don't have to pass all these parameters. The Expert Advisor, when you run it, it will load this file that has all these parameters in it one time, and then all you have to do is just call the indicator using the iCustom function, and you don't have to pass all this. So the main difference is I'm now using these right here, which you can play with. I'm going to put the code on the website, so rather than try to explain it, I think if you see the code, it makes it a lot easier. But this is the main difference in the DATR, and it still has the 3 modes: close to close, high, low, and then the open, close. This one, I put an adaptive period in it, so you can either disable it or use the indicator one, or this, when you're using this one here, the user select, when it's calculating the period, if you have a higher value, it makes it a little faster. If you want it to not be quite as quick, you can just use the indicator period. And with this version, for some reason, with this addition here, I guess, you really don't need to use any of these, but you can. There's a lot of good settings. I mean, if you just play with it, spend some time and get used to it, you'll find some. Even just using the default one that's what this is right here. This is the default version. It works just fine. So, and then we have the candle max height, which will limit the height of the candle. It's an ATR value. So if you set this to 10, it will use a 10 value ATR and multiply that by 2. And if the candle's over that, it will be limited to this value. And then we have the bands, and there's 4 modes. And the only thing you really need to know that switching in between the moving average and the standard deviation bands is the moving average doesn't need, I'll switch it. Doesn't need a high value in this multiplier value. You could start with 1. See how it changes there? And I'm just going to reset this back to where it was. Standard deviation works really well. There's also a single channel where the 2 channels are merged together. And then there's also the same thing with the moving average. The moving average types, you can select from any of these. There really are a lot of good settings. The other thing is this minimum ATR level, which is this dotted gold line. What it has is 2 ATRs. For example, if you look at the first one, the up value that goes up this way, it's 100. It's currently set at 8 times the ATR. The inverted, which is the one pushing it down, is set to linear weighted 20 period multiplied by 4. Basically, it modulates this line as the price moves up, the bands move down. When price is going sideways, it moves up. You can play with that. I think that this is one of the better additions to this indicator. The rest of these are just if you're using a different moving average for the bands. Here's the DATR moving average parameters. You can use those. And then these are just to control the color. And then you also have this indicator value, which when you go here and you look in the Expert Advisor, this is the parameter values and the candle you put it on. This will be the label that shows up in case you're testing multiple volume indicators. You're trying to find out which one's the best. And then this up with the greater than arrow, this is these brighter colors. And then when you have the up and then the arrow is going the opposite way, less than, it's this brown color here, for example, or the blue. That's what those mean. And then it could just, so you can compare settings as you go through and change them, and it will print the current settings right here. This indicator up here, this banded moving average, trying to get these impulsive moves. You'll just have to see how it integrates into your system if you want to try it. Anyway, that's the indicator.